Los Angeles in the 1920s was a city high on its own myth. Hollywood was booming, oil was flowing, and profits were everywhere. In a place built on reinvention, anyone could claim a vision, and someone always would. That's how a quiet woman from Oregon ended up founding one of the strangest and most disturbing cults in California history. Her name was May Otis Blackburn, and she called her movement the Divine Order of the Royal Arms of the Great 11. To her followers, she wasn't just a preacher, she was a prophet. She said angels spoke to her directly, dictating a sacred book that would unlock the secrets of the universe, grant immortality, and make the faithful rulers of a new world. It started in 1922 on Bunker Hill, back when it was a crowded neighborhood of boarding houses and stairways winding down toward downtown Los Angeles. May was living there with her daughter, Ruth Rizzio, and together they told anyone who'd listen that they'd been chosen by the Archangel Gabriel to reveal a new revelation to humanity, a book they called the Great Sixth Seal. They claimed the angels had shown them visions of the end times, of kingdoms that would rise again, and of 11 queens, the Great 11, who would rule the earth after divine judgment. May said the book would contain formulas for eternal life, endless riches, and angelic power. The only problem was, she needed money to finish it, and in 1920s Los Angeles, there was always someone willing to pay for salvation. One of the first believers was Clifford Dabney, nephew of a California oil tycoon. He was young, wealthy, and searching for spiritual meaning. May told him his destiny was to be one of the chosen few, and that his donations would help fund the divine work. Over several years, Dabney gave her more than $40,000, nearly $1 million in today's money, in cash, gold, and property. He wasn't alone. Other followers donated homes, jewels, and savings, convinced they'd be repaid 1,000-fold when the Great Sixth Seal was revealed. May moved her growing circle north to a rural property in Simi Valley, where she said the faithful would await the coming revelation day. The compound was simple, a few cabins, an altar, and endless fields, but she described it as sacred ground. She dressed in flowing white robes. Ruth acted as her messenger. Members fasted, prayed, and helped May receive the angelic dictation that never seemed to end. The rituals grew stranger. Followers were told to bathe in oil for purification, to sacrifice animals for blessings, and to remain silent for days at a time. Those who questioned May's authority were warned they'd lose their place among the chosen. For a while, the group stayed out of the headlines, one more eccentric spiritual order in a city full of them. Then people started disappearing. Rumors spread that some members had been locked away, awaiting resurrection. Others who tried to leave claimed they'd been threatened with curses, but nothing compared to what police uncovered in 1929, when a former member finally went to authorities with a story too strange to ignore. Detectives began investigating May for fraud, and that's when they learned about a teenage girl named Willa Rhodes, whose family had once been part of the Great 11. The Rhodeses lived in Venice, a few blocks from the beach. When officers searched their house, they made one of the most shocking discoveries in Los Angeles history. Under the wooden floorboards, in a sealed tomb-like chamber, lay the mummified body of 16-year-old Willa, surrounded by the remains of 7 dead dogs arranged in a circle. The Rhodes parents calmly told investigators that Willa had died years earlier, and that May Blackburn had instructed them not to bury her. Instead, they'd preserved her with spices and salt, believing she would rise from the dead when the angels returned. The news hit like a bomb. Headlines called it the Cult of the Great 11 and the Mummified Girl of Venice. Reporters swarmed the Blackburn compound. May, now infamous, refused to answer questions. She said everything happening was part of God's plan, and that the world would understand once the Great Sixth Seal was finished. But the world didn't wait. Los Angeles County prosecutors charged May and Ruth with grand theft, accusing them of defrauding followers, including Clifford Dabney, out of their fortunes. The case went to trial in 1930, and the courtroom looked like a stage set. May sat in white robes holding a Bible, claiming that the angels themselves would judge her. Witnesses described oil baths, secret ceremonies, and promises of eternal life that never came true. Ruth, her daughter and co-leader, broke down during testimony, saying she'd only followed her mother's orders. The jury eventually acquitted Ruth entirely, but May was convicted on multiple counts of grand theft. Still, she never spent a day behind bars. She was released on bail while her lawyers appealed, and in 1931, the conviction was overturned. The appellate court ruled that the evidence about death and cult rituals, including the mummified girl, had unfairly influenced the jury in what was technically a theft case. Because her followers had given her money voluntarily, the court said it wasn't legally theft. May walked free. The cult never recovered. Most followers drifted away, their savings gone and their faith shattered. The Simi Valley compound was abandoned, its altars left to rot. But May kept writing. In 1936, she self-published a book called The Origin of God, claiming it contained fragments of the long-promised revelation. It didn't. May Otis Blackburn died quietly in Los Angeles in 1951, never completing the Great Sixth Seal, never apologizing, and never giving back the fortune she collected. Her daughter Ruth disappeared from public view entirely. Today, the Blackburn cult is a ghost story buried under a century of Los Angeles history. Part tragedy, part cautionary tale, but it says something deep about the city that gave birth to it. Los Angeles has always blurred the line between faith and fantasy, between believing in something and buying into it. In the 1920s, the city sold the American dream by day and eternal life by night. May Blackburn was just smart enough to see that both could make her rich. Her followers weren't fools. They were people searching for meaning in a city that never stopped selling it. They were lonely, grieving, hopeful. The kind of people who wanted to believe the light above the Hollywood hills might really be divine. And maybe that's the scariest part of all, because the Blackburn cult didn't vanish. It just evolved. The promises of wealth, fame, and immortality never left Los Angeles. They just changed their marketing. The angels stopped talking a long time ago, but the city never stopped listening.